What is going on, everybody? So this video has been a long time coming, and I didn't realize I needed to make it, but I feel like it's more of a confessional than anything. And I feel like a lot of people just don't talk about this, but instead talk about their giant game collection or movie collection or anything like that because they're a lot more proud of it, and for good reason. So recently I went all digital. And yes, that's exactly what you think it is. I don't have any kind of physical video game or movie merchandise. The only thing I own are hard drives, computers, and game systems, with said video game or movie inside of it, or stored away somewhere in a 20 terabyte hard drive. And I used to go to GameStop all the time, and you know how they give you that receipt that shows how much your membership is worth over a course of time? Every time I would go to GameStop, they would tell me that the number they saw on that receipt was the most they've ever seen. I think it was the total savings in my account. So needless to say, I went to GameStop a shit ton. But every time I used to buy a new game, 20 or 30 days after, I would just trade it in or even return it. Not because I didn't think the game was worth it. It was mostly because sometimes I had to move and I didn't want to bring all those games with me. I used to have those little portfolio cases that carried the CD of the game or movie, and it was just really a pain to carry that. And there was a point where one of my friends actually stole my entire Xbox 360 collection, which I was collecting over time. And sadly, that was kind of the last straw. So upon moving day, my friend went back into the apartment and just took my entire portfolio of Xbox 360 games. There were about $4,000 worth of games in there. And I thought to myself, man, this wouldn't happen if I just had it in a hard drive or something, because you can't help but run into a thief every now and then. But with that happening to me, that was sort of the last straw. And after that, I pretty much went full digital. Now, I collected Nintendo Switch games here and there, but after a while, when I wanted a new game and I just wanted to collect something new, I usually traded in the older Nintendo Switch games. Because, like everybody knows, collecting is a lot of money and takes a lot of time and calculation as to where you need to put these titles and games. Then you need to buy a case or two to store them, and that just makes the process a lot more complicated and time consuming. And even if you do find a place to store them, they're never truly safe. You don't really have them backed up anywhere, and the only game collection I kept for longer than 10 years was my digital game collection in my PC or in Steam. And I'm not saying Steam is actually owning a video game, because it's not, but I bought the games on Steam and then backed them up as third-party or offline versions. And at that point, it truly felt like I owned the game forever, because I back up my games at least twice. And when it comes to moving and having all of those video game cases, it just felt more inconvenient to consistently move all of my stuff for no reason other than I own it and I'm supposed to bring it with me, and someday I'm gonna want to play this game. But like everybody else, I have a gigantic backlog, and for the most part of my life, that backlog has been with physical titles. So all these games just collect dust and sit there just to show ownership of them. There really isn't any purpose of having a giant game collection, in my opinion, other than just showing it off and being nostalgic and looking at it. It does feel really great to look at a game and the case and feel like you're at GameStop again, or just relive that nostalgia while looking at your collection. But ultimately, it provided no purpose, because even if I wanted to play the game, I'm already comfortable on the couch or in my gaming chair. I don't want to get up, open the case, or even look for the case if I can't find it, and then realize there's another game inside, so I gotta find the game case that actually has the game I want to play in there, and by the time I find it, I really just don't want to play it. Or most of the time, I don't even want to get up and look for it. And that's been my life for the majority. But recently, after moving, I just said screw it, and I went all digital. And I never looked back. All those collectors and stuff, they're just spending more money on these old titles when you could just emulate them or download them online or find some kind of way to actually make those titles compatible with your current hardware. And that's something everybody wants, right? That's why Nintendo Switch Online exists, so you can play those older titles on your Nintendo Switch, but you don't truly own those titles anyway. You have the hardware, but you don't even have the physical games anymore. And yes, there is a thing called game preservation, and a lot of people, a lot lot of collectors do it, but guess what? Those collectors are probably not even going to touch those games. They most likely have them emulated anyway, just like all of these AAA game companies. So having the actual game and collecting it doesn't actually matter. A lot of these people don't want to play these titles because they're near their expiration date in terms of just material. And just in case they want to sell them again, like a lot of collectors do, they're not going to play them anyway. So they're going to emulate these titles. So if I actually want to play a game and that's all I truly care about, then I'm most likely going to emulate it for the ease of access. So I don't have to get up if I want to play a game, or if I'm tired from work, or if I'm just lazy in general and don't want to look through countless collections and portfolios. And especially when you put them in a portfolio, most of the time the game is in like the second to last slip. So you're going to have to sift through all of these games in your portfolio anyway. And I just find having all those titles and countless collector's items to be sort of meaningless, and to most of all and most importantly hold me in a specific place. Whenever I had a giant collection of anything, it gave me more of a reason to stay stagnant in a specific apartment or house. And the older I get, the more I feel like I just need to be free, and I just want to travel as much as possible and want to live in as many states as I can before I die. And that's kind of how I've been feeling in the last 10 years. Life is short, and staying in one place with your oversized game or movie collection is just wasting your life. Sure, you can have a home to go to, but if you're a gamer like me, and if you love watching movies, you want your games with you wherever you go. And for the most part, a lot of PC gamers that have those monster towers, and a lot of gamers that have those giant collections, usually find a reason not to travel because of those games, because that giant tower at home that just has your favorite title on there that you would rather play than actually traveling. This is why I find portable gaming so important, and not mobile games. When it comes to iPhone and Android apps, they usually require a lot of money anyway. I usually like the single player titles that you can just play anytime you want and relive that experience, like the Batman Arkham games or the Spider-Man games. And I used to be against digital collections. I thought that it wasn't truly game preservation. But just like Tony Stark, I just want what I want on the go wherever I go, regardless if it goes against my principles or if it's not right in the greater scheme of the gaming industry. If anyone gives a shit about that, I just want my games on the go wherever I go at high fidelity with high performance. And the Steam Deck and ROG Ally truly gave me that experience and opportunity to bring my games anywhere. The ROG Ally more so than the Steam Deck, because I can back up my games on Windows, download all of them on my laptop or tower, and then just transfer them over to my ROG Ally because it's made for Windows. With Steam Deck, not so much, because you need Steam games. And a lot of Steam games like Jedi Fallen Order, Assassin's Creed, Need for Speed require some kind of online login of sorts. And that just rubs me the wrong way. That in itself is against my principles as a gamer, because sometimes I just want to play a game without connecting to the internet. I'm not some kind of MMO gamer of any kind, so I don't need the internet to play my favorite titles, and I shouldn't need it. And that's why playing third-party or offline mode games, as I'm calling it, to me is true preservation in my eyes, and it makes it so much easier to just pick up the ROG Ally and play whenever I want. And that's truly the way I feel, and that's the reason why I've been playing it tenfold more than the Steam Deck, because every time I go to the Steam Deck, there's some kind of update that I need to do, because you need to be in the Steam platform. Being limited to any platform is something I'm also against. I want to just be able to play wherever I want with the game and the system. It shouldn't be like going through this online service or making sure your thing is updated so his red scarf is truly red and not just maroon. Some kind of bullshit update that makes me feel like I don't own the game and makes me dread going to that game. That is something I am against in terms of digital games. But if you back up your titles, then you could just simply click the icon and play whichever title you want. And the first system that made me feel true freedom to bring my games anywhere I want was the Nintendo Switch. And it's the first system I started going all digital with. And if you had a 1 terabyte, you can fit all of your apps in there. And now with the recent Xbox leaks showing that they might go all digital next generation, there's a lot of talk about if physical games have any kind of place in the gaming industry. I personally think, of course it does. There's a lot of gamers that just stay inside, don't travel anywhere, and just want all their titles, and they just basically want to live in a GameStop store. And if that's your dream, then I'm proud of you. But for me personally, I just find it a lot more convenient and accessible, especially since I have more than 2,000 titles all together in my 30-something terabyte hard drives. To me, a physical collection doesn't quite make any sense anymore. But yeah, I hope this video was beneficial to you if you're thinking about going all digital. It ain't a bad thing. I think it's okay. I think it really doesn't matter what other gamers think if you decide to live a certain lifestyle. If you want to experience your games from an SSD or a 20 terabyte hard drive like I do, then by all means, take that opportunity and experiment and just go all digital for about a week or two and see how you feel. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. See you guys in the next one. Later.